it's running right now.
Did you hit start?
Guess so, because I see the clicker. We're at 37%.
Was it recording right now?
Yes, it's recording right now.
Cool.
This is Scott chewing. He chews often. He chews well. Scott Bryson is a great masticator.
Mom always said chew your food. We made our way up to the Dempster Highway.
The Dempster Highway was kind of an unknown for us, and we knew it was going to be dirt, and we knew that it was going to be long stretches between gas stations, and sometimes it's more unmaintained than other times. So we had like the 2 spare tires, the 2 extra jerry cans of gas. Like, we were just ready for whatever it had to throw at us.
Totally. We decked our truck out so that we could survive the Dempster.
Right. Maybe that was a good idea.
Oh, indeed.
All right, let's hit the road.
Like it is?
In Lagadice.
Not long after you begin the northern journey, you come to Tombstone Park, and what a gem. The mountains, the river, the hiking trails, visitor center. Wow.
We camped for the night in Tombstone Park. Right between setting up camp and making dinner, we went for a little hike along the Klondike River. It was one of our first hikes we did on the whole trip because we were in just such a mission to go north. We saw a snowshoe hare, and Scott got to wear the bear spray on his hip, and it was all very wild and little twilighty.
I liked watching Rachel just be fascinated with the mosses and lichens that were around this area. They were so beautiful.
On our way into camp last night, they had just oiled the road. Just want to point out how thick this got. There's the drip line on the ground from where it dripped off the truck. It's pretty grody. And this is the next morning.
When we pulled into camp, there was this loud, rattly, crackly noise, and we went to discover what it was, and it turned out to be rocks and silt running through the culverts because the runoff from the glaciers was so thick with particulates.
The glacial melt just made for that nasty, gray, fast-moving river right through our campground.
It sounded almost mechanical. I was like, is someone mining here? Once we figured out what it wasn't disturbing. All of that driving necessitated us fitting in exercise wherever we could find it. So we were doing our best to just, do some calisthenics before we would set off every day for our drive, because you just never know what the day was going to bring, and you needed to fit it in. So for a while we were doing burpees until I hurt my back doing floppy burpees, but, and then we had to modify.
Yeah. Burpees, push-ups, yoga, jogging, hiking. We're doing what we can.
The Dempster Highway
Covers a long, long distance, and no human being can resist the temptation to just go a little faster than you should on gravel. I did pretty good, we were getting passed by trucks who really were wanting to just haul ass. But still, we were booking right along, and if something should cause you to have to hit the brakes suddenly, you're likely to spin out of control. And you don't want to do that here. There's no help. There's no tow trucks. There's no phones. There's no cell service. You have to rely on other people passing through, helping out if they're able. We're hardly ever cars.
Which was really nice because with a dirt road comes dust, and It was so pleasant to be able to drive along with the windows down and enjoy the fresh air. Luckily, the road was pretty wide. There wasn't really a situation where you would have a tight fit going across, but if something went wrong and you went off the side, it was pretty much ubiquitously a drop-off.
Guys, we're up on the Dempster and taking a little coffee break. Got our water cooking. Rachel's on a rock doing some grinding. That's how we do our coffee.
Fresh ground.
Yeah.
Give it 10.
As we approached the Arctic Circle, nightfall just kind of became obsolete, and it was just kind of like bright, 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 kind of dim, bright, 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 bright. And so we just had to create our own circadian rhythms, and the sleep masks, I think that's what they're called, little eye patchy things,
eye
were
masks.
definitely critical pieces of our kit.
I didn't even think to bring these, but luckily Rachel brought along some eye masks, and man, what a difference it makes. When the darkness never comes, night after night, it gets hard to sleep when you're not used to it.
And our tent does not shut out any light. When it's bright inside.
It was cool.
The whole way up, I was just still looking. I was like, where's the roving hordes of caribou? Or
Yeah.
herds. I guess they'd be
Hordes.
hordes if they were pests, but they're not.
What did we see? Sandhill cranes?
Moose,
Lots and lots of
ptarmigans.
birds. Oh, ravens. The ravens up here were the size of vultures in Chico. They're huge.
We saw some kind of mountain goaty thing, but they didn't look like longhorns. They didn't have that curly Q thing going on. I think they might have been something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, we saw those. They were cool. One of the major early on goals for this trip was to get to the Arctic Circle at the solstice so we could watch the sun not go down on that part of the planet. And it turns out the solstice, like the actual time of the solstice, was at like 1:57 in the morning. I don't remember the exact time. Although it was on the 21st, like you had to be there on the 20th if you wanted to be there for solstice, because it was like really, really early morning on the 21st. Yeah, so we were booking up there on our way.
Yeah, this was one of the reasons we left Chico in such a hurry on the 8th, is because we needed to make sure we gave ourselves enough time to reach the Arctic Circle by the 20th. That final stretch was super exciting.
We made it! Arctic Circle. Oh my gosh.
What was it like at the Arctic Circle, particularly compared to what your expectations may have been?
Well, my expectations were millions of caribou and snow and tiny, tiny tundra. That's not what it was like. It was gentle rolling hills and shrubs. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was probably like 75, 80 degrees.
And who did we see at the Arctic Circle but Tom and Colleen, this wonderful couple from British Columbia who were also traveling to Tuktoyaktuk. And we had met them at an interpretive turnout, and Tom was there to help us make sense of these signs, and I think he was slightly amused at our gentle complaints, and then he ended up agreeing with us. This sign was kind of messed up. I was super curious about their rig. It's called a Dalika, 4-wheel drive. They named their rig Ubi, which I think is just the cutest name ever. And Tom was very proud of the work he had done to alter the interior and add solar and this, that, and the other thing to make it a real road trip worthy van for he and his wife. Rachel and I had found this kind of gravel pit turnout with a view just 2 kilometers north from the Arctic Circle on my overlander. we invited them to camp alongside. The four of us parked our vehicles in this sweet little spot, and we decided to walk back down to the sign right at the time of solstice, just around 2 a.m. And we took some pictures, and it was fun. Those guys were great, and we ended up sort of leapfrogging all the way up to Tuktoyaktuk.
In the next episode, we run out of road in Tuktoyaktuk.
Do we have the nerve to dip our bodies in the freezing Arctic Ocean?
We're here.
Grab a jacket.